Hello, hello, balanced. We have just 10 minutes to stretch out our bodies from the top of our head to the tips of our toes. This stretch was created for you before you go out for your run or your walk. So we're really going to focus on our lower body. However, we know as walkers and runners, we need to make sure our entire body is warmed up as well, because our arms help us get up tall hills and get us through those muddy pastures, wherever you might be walking, whether it's on a pasture or in a city road. Let's take a nice big deep breath to get us centered before we start. Our hands can float above our head, and then exhale, roll your wrists down by your sides. It doesn't have to be a full circle even. It could just be a natural movement. Especially when we're stretching, I think it's so important to just continue to listen to your body. If you feel any kind of burning, popping, or pinching, stray away from that movement, come out of it, and then gently work back into a stretch that does feel good for you. Blink your eyes open, come on into the space that you're working in. Roll your shoulders back like you are just letting go of the rest of the week. Like you're saying, I don't need that anymore, let it go. Nice. And let's add in our arms, going all the way up and back. We go out and around like you are just opening up. I've said this before, but like you're throwing open French doors and letting in crisp spring air that helps you inhale deeper and feel more grounded in your movement practice. Way to go. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let's just our hips side to side, feeling a little bit one with the music, and then finding a big hip circle. This time, I want you to let this grow as big as it can. We're working to find our fullest range of motion. And again, that might be different on different days, but our hip mobility really, really matters, especially because our hip sockets, they're our biggest joint in our entire body. And roll it all the way in the opposite way. And who doesn't like to wiggle with their hips, right? Bring your hips back underneath your body. Bring your chin down to your chest. We're going to take this to a full ragdoll. Now, if this is an uncomfortable movement for you, I would suggest having a chair close by. And when my hands come down to the floor, instead, you can keep your hands on the chair, and that will keep you a little bit more upright. If you would like to take a full ragdoll, bring your chin to your chest and start to roll down vertebra by vertebra until you are fully hanging over top of your legs. This will help release some of the tension that we hold on to in our lower back. For even more release, bring one hand to the opposite elbow and then the opposite hand to the opposite elbow. So I've got my right hand on my left and my left hand on my right. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. If you're working with a chair, maybe your hands are propped up on the chair right now. Then gently bring your hands down to the floor and sink your hips down toward the floor, bringing your tailbone closer and then pressing into your feet to bring your tailbone up toward the ceiling. Way to go. And tail down and back up. Nice job. One more. Straighten your legs. And hug your elbows again and rock right and left a little bit more. Very good. Then center yourself, rolling back up, vertebrae by vertebrae, vertebra by vertebra, until the last thing that's up is our head. Roll your shoulders back down your spine. Very good. Now we're doing a set of air squats into hip hinges. So our air squats are exactly how they sound. We are doing a squat and our hands are coming forward. If you need to hold on to your hips, that is totally fine. But with the idea of going out on a walk or a run after this will be really helpful to strengthen and stretch. So send your hips back and then come right on back up. Looking great. Hips come forward and back up. I'm going to send my hands over top of my head for an increased challenge. I've got 4 more air squats. 3, 2, and 1. Make it our best. And bring your hands down to your hips. With a slight bend in my knees, for some people, you might even want like a little bit more of a bend. That could help with this. We're hinging at our hips and bringing our chest closer to the floor until we're parallel with the floor. Now, you'll feel the stretch down the backs of your legs, and to come up, you'll actually feel the engagement of your glutes. So it's a stretch and a strengthening move at the same time. Cool beans, let's do 8. Does anybody say that anymore, cool beans? Is that just a me thing? Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it's a balanced thing. Maybe we'll make it a balanced thing. And come on back up. Being mindful not to pull up with your lower back. Instead, we're really focusing on the engagement of the glutes. Yes, we've got 3 more. Way to go, team. Almost there. Last one. Yay! And from this standing position, send 1 foot back, just like we're about to do a split squat, but instead, we're focusing on stretching the front of our hip flexor. So our heel is back and as close to the ground. It's okay if it's off a little bit. That just means that's your level of comfort. But our hips are really important because we want them to be square to where we're working in, so that by gently moving our hips forward, we feel the stretch down the front of the leg a little bit more. Good. Almost there. Keep breathing. 1 more big deep inhale. On the exhale, bring your feet back together and switch sides. Way to go. Now I'm doing this standing in the middle of the room, but if it's helpful for you, you can turn so that you're parallel with the wall or with the chair. And in this position, you can use the chair or the wall for more support. Now, this is actually a great angle that you can see my hips even a little bit more at. So you see what I'm saying about neutral pelvis is when my pelvis is right underneath my body, my core is engaged. If I allow my hips to go backward with an anterior tilt, I'm not getting the same kind of stretch that I would if I bring it back into neutral through the front of my quad. So this is our hip flexor, and if you do sit a lot, chances are these are very tight. So be gentle with yourself and just move through this. If you have to go back and forth and come out of the stretch, that's okay too. Everybody has a different range of motion, and it changes throughout our life. I was just saying in the studio, the things I could do when I was 18 are not the things that I can do now. And that's okay. Our bodies change and we adapt. Take 1 more big deep breath, and on your exhale, bring your feet back together. All right, let's move into the rest of our day with lots of energy. So start with a step touch, one of my favorites. I mean, who doesn't love a step touch, right? Like, who doesn't love wiggling their hips? I don't know. And this is going to help us to bring up our heart rate. So leave the beat behind and just start to tap your toes right and left until it brings us to a march right in the center. Before we move into the next part of our day, whether that's walk, it's run, maybe you're going into another cool down after this, but we're gonna 1 more 30-second burst of energy. And today, maybe it's a little jog right and left. Maybe it's a full-out dance party. I always like it if it's a dance party personally. But whatever it is, let it be nice and free and allow your body to move in whatever way feels best for you. For another 15 seconds, celebrating the fact that our bodies can, in fact, move. What a joy. You've got 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Plant your feet underneath you. Take a nice big deep breath in, inhaling something you are grateful for. Exhale, send your hands down by your sides. Cross one arm over, cross the other arm over. Give yourself a big squeeze. Eee. And release your hands down by your sides. Way to go, team. I love stretching with you. This has been 10 minutes of a pre-walk, pre-run stretch. If you're looking for more of a stretch, check out some of the fantastic yoga videos that both Michelle and Kira have in our library of replays and videos on demand. I'll see you all very soon.